Matthew's with us, and how you doing there, Matthew, in these crazy times?
Yeah, it is crazy times. Luckily, lockdown's okay for me. I'm sitting in a studio, you're sitting in a studio. We can live with that, Chris, but it's a difficult situation for many people.
Now, Matthew, we've discussed lab meat before. What about lab-made dairy products? Real milk, but no cows needed.
It's a very interesting world we're moving into, Chris. We have talked about lab meat before, and the first factory opened up in the world just a couple of months ago to produce lab meat. Now it's at the point where we're producing lab milk. And lab milk's a lot easier to produce than lab meat. So we might actually see more lab milk produced around the world than we do lab meat. The good thing about milk is that it's just a number of molecules there mixed together. Lab meat's got to be grown in a certain way and basically get that texture and feel, but milk is mostly water. It's mostly water with some proteins mixed in, and it's not really a major problem for us here in our part of the world. We're very lucky. We're a very rich country. We actually have good access to good old-fashioned dairy milk, but there are many places around the world that don't have access to milk, and health of people in that area suffers. So if we can produce milk in the laboratory, we might find some of those areas that haven't got access to that suddenly do get access to that. The real question I have is around people that are vegans and they don't want to have any products that are coming from animals, and that's fine, that's a lifestyle choice. But for lab-produced milk, it suddenly puts some of those people in an interesting conundrum. What do they do about that? Is it okay to have lab-produced milk, or ultimately, because it was a animal-produced product in the first place, is that still something that a vegan wouldn't participate in? I don't know the answer to that, Chris, but these are some of the answers we have when technology suddenly gets mixed into culture, mixed into politics, a whole range of other issues. All I can tell you at the moment is, yes, we're producing milk in the laboratory. How good is it? I think it'll be just the same as normal old-fashioned dairy milk.
Now, speaking of milk, which can really pile on the weight if you're not careful drinking full milk, not the fat-reduced milk, but body fat calculations might be easier. Samsung's Galaxy Watch 4 calculates body fat from the wrist.
It just seems incredible to me, Chris, what we're now able to calculate from our good old-fashioned watch. I thought it was a major breakthrough. We can suddenly do heart rates from a watch. It used to be the old band you'd put around the chest to try and feed your heart rate through to some other device. Being able to pick up heart rates from your watch, then you could do ECGs from your watch. Now you can do a body fat analysis. Now, most people are familiar with a BMI. They can take their weight, they take their height, they do the calculations on that. It's a fairly simple calculation. But all the experts say that that's an approximation. And if you look at any high-level Olympic athlete, for example, or an NRL player, their BMI looks terrible because they've got a lot of muscle, and muscle weighs more per volume than fat. So doing a good analysis of that is obviously a much better idea. But the machines you normally hook up to that, which actually send a very low voltage through your skin and detect the difference in the electrical conductivity of muscle versus fat, will give you that analysis. But not everyone has a machine that's able to be hooked up to them on a daily basis and just check that on an ongoing basis. But that's where Samsung are now at with their latest Galaxy Watch 4. It does do that electrical analysis of your skin to actually work out your body fat analysis. Now, they've done some testing versus a machine worth a lot more money and a lot larger that you got to hook up to, and the results are within maybe 5%, plus or minus 5%. So it's a pretty good indication. And again, part of the process here, Chris, would be you do that on an ongoing basis. If you're trying to monitor your weight, trying to lose weight, you do that on an ongoing basis just to see where your weight is at. But quite incredible now what we've got built into the good old-fashioned watch.
Now, have you missed a parcel lately? Matthew, I know I've got a couple outstanding at the moment. It's frustrating. But look, there's a warning. Parcel delivery texts are now the most common con trick.
And we're seeing this in a couple of forms, Chris. It's the flu-bot virus that we're seeing. And in Europe, most of Europe, it was all around delivery text messages. So you'd get a text message to say that you've missed a parcel, click on this link, and that'll let you see where your parcel's at, or that'll let you track your parcel. And some people get tricked by that because some of the standard cons that people see ask for money. So they're a bit of a wake-up. People go, no, I know that's a scam. They're asking me for a couple of dollars. No, I'm onto that one. This one doesn't ask for any money. And in Australia, we're mainly seeing it with voicemail. So rather than being a parcel delivery, which seemed to be the common one through Europe, we're saying, hey, Chris, you've got a voicemail. Click on this link to get your voicemail. So some people innocently click on that link, and it takes them to a site that says, just install this app, and that will give you your voicemail. So people go, okay, that seems fair enough. Just a voicemail, that can't be too bad. When they click on that link, that actually installs an app on their phone, which is a bit of malware. And what that malware does is it goes and scrapes your contact database, sends it off to the scammers. It also uses your phone to start sending more text messages, because text messages are a bit hard to get for free for a scammer. But if they use your phone and hundreds, thousands, millions of other phones, then they can actually just send those text messages. Now, the interesting part was we didn't see this in Australia for some time. This started back in about April over in Europe. We didn't see it for some time in Australia, but the code, people that have been analysing the codes just had the +61, the Australian international phone number prefix, just added to the code. So now we're starting to see this happen, and it's been exploding in Australia over the last week or two. I'm not sure if you've seen any of those, Chris, with those messages that come through telling you you've got a voicemail there, but people will see more and more of those.
Now, Matthew, are we at the stage where a robot lawyer could be used to defend us in court?
Well, I think it's one of those things that so many things can be utilising artificial intelligence. Now, again, from a lawyer or a legal perspective, I'm not sure that I want a robot lawyer sitting in court defending me if I was on a murder trial, but for so many simple things, maybe a parking fine, maybe my gym membership has expired and I don't want to have it automatically renewed, but it's been automatically renewed. So some of those legalese type letters, you sometimes go and pay your solicitor more than it costs you to go and actually get the amount that you're trying to chase. And there was a young student who had exactly this problem. He was getting lots of parking fines. Now, I would probably say just park somewhere different. But anyway, this particular student took a different approach, Chris. He went, I'm really frustrated with all these parking fines. I don't want to pay them, and I don't have the legal knowledge to go and try and defend myself with these parking fines. So he actually created an app. And the app allows you to go and put in your language what you're trying to do. I'm trying to get out of a parking fine ticket. I'm trying to fix up my gym membership, whatever it might be. And then this app will actually take that and convert it into a legal letter. So you can start the legal process rather than having to go and hire a solicitor to start that legal process. Not at the point yet where we're in a court, but I'll get to that in a minute. That might be interesting there. But again, for these sort of things, the app's called Do Not Pay. You go and pay a small amount of membership. About 150,000 people across the world are already using this, and then you get that first step. Interesting, solicitors around the world are saying this is good. You think they might be a bit concerned about it taking away their business. It actually even won an award from the American Bar Association because the belief was that if you increase access to legal processes for the general public, it makes the overall process better. The developer of this app claimed an 80% overall success rate sending off letters, only 65% for parking tickets because sometimes people have just parked in the wrong spot, so they should actually pay them. But the next thing they're looking at is they're getting some robots to act as judges in a sort of duplication process. So a normal judge runs through a case, a normal process is run, but a robot judge is looking at the whole case and makes a prediction at the very beginning of the trial which way the process will come out. And then they're comparing that to what actually happens in the real world. They're getting it about 95% right. And so there's an argument to say that maybe with a shortage of judges, maybe with a complicated legal process, you could actually go through, feed all the information through to an AI judge, get the answer back within minutes, and if you're happy with that, you say, that's it, let's move on, rather than tie up the courts for a long period of time. Might be interesting, Chris.
Now, let's talk about subscription overload. Yeah, subscription scramble. Now, how can you possibly take control of your streaming, gaming, and delivery subscriptions, Matthew?
It is a tough one, Chris. Being mindful of all those different ones, all those small amounts that come out of your bank account. It might be $5 here, $10 there. You don't notice it that much. And then suddenly by the end of the month, you say, well, we just spent $100, $200 on these various things. It might be games, it might be movies, it might be music, a whole range of different things there. Now, if you're using an iPhone or a Google or an Android phone, you can use their subscription services if you subscribe directly through those and actually check on those subscriptions, remove some of those if you need to. And that's one way of attacking it. But not all of those subscriptions are done through the actual app. So you might have Netflix on your set-top box, for example, and then you might have something on your phone. You might have something through another website. You might have Uber Eats through a different service or a different app. So there's a whole range of different ones there. Not surprising, the old saying, there's an app for that, is absolutely true in this case, Chris. There is an app for that. There's an app that basically says, put all your information in with all these apps. It'll check out your expiry dates. There might be annual subscriptions, so it'll check out when those are. Do you really want to subscribe for another year? It's just a way of letting you track some of those. So have a look at trackmysubs.com, and it allows you to keep track of all those subscriptions to try and keep a handle on them, because it's very easy for you to lose track of all those, and more importantly, Chris, very easy for those just to blow out your costs.
And just finally, Matthew, carsales.com.au, I see you're about to launch a completely online vehicle marketplace.
It is an interesting one. Most people like to go and smell the leather, kick the tyres, actually have a look at a vehicle before they make the final purchase. Many people are happy to actually do their research online. So 37% of consumers are happy to buy a pre-loved vehicle online, but only 1% of those people actually did the deal online completely. In other words, they made the decision to buy, but then they still wanted to go and have a look at the car before they finally made the purchase. Now, as we're finding with lots of things, Chris, at the moment, this little pandemic's changing how we're doing lots of things. Car sales are saying that they're creating a site that's basically allowing people to make the entire purchase online. And they've got a few things built in to try and make people feel a bit more at ease. There's a pre-purchase test drive that basically, or a pre-purchase check of the whole car to make sure that it's actually what people say it is. There's a 7-day money-back guarantee. Now, car sales is giving that money-back guarantee. I'm not sure how that works with the seller of the car if someone changes their mind. So that's an interesting one. But again, it's just getting people used to that whole idea of buying a car online. A new car is one thing, and people are starting to buy those online now. But when it's a second-hand car, and people have always got that horror story they know about their friend that bought a car online, and then when they went to get it, it wasn't exactly what they said it would be, or they got some lemon that had some issues there. So it's really, I suppose, a mental challenge, Chris, to get people past that. But car sales believe they can do that, and they believe a lot of the growth of their company will be around people buying cars, second-hand cars, completely online.
All right, Matthew, we will look out for Tech Talk online at SoundCloud, Facebook. Of course, you've got the podcast. Thanks for your time today, mate, and we'll talk. Have a good week.
My pleasure. We'll chat again in a week's time. Stay safe out there.